Oh, not that.
From the aesthetic point of view. But young people, they want to know the truth.
5-year-old girl at Doncaster shopping town yesterday evening. 52 children from the religious sect Children of God are spending some time with their parents tonight before another night in protective custody. Pedestrians and cyclists who disobey traffic regulations in the new Swanston Street walk will face tough on-the-spot fines of up to $135 from today. And Fitzroy skipper Paul Roos will captain Victoria in the State of Origin clash with Western Australia next week. Melbourne's weather cool and cloudy with showers clearing tomorrow, a top of 16.
Nobody knows news like 7.
The days are grey, the nights are long, so turn it on, turn it on, oh turn it on, show me what you've got, turn it on, 'cause when you're hot, you're hot.
New Pampers Snap and Bake. The amazing way to turn a cube into a delicious home-style cookie in just 15 minutes. Fresh from your own oven.
Hello. Oh, hi, Mum. Just made myself a treat. Mum, can we talk about this later?
Oh, hi, Mum.
We saved you one.
New Pampers Snap and Bake. 24 delicious home-style cookies.
Great attractions coming to your place on 7. Patrick Swayze, brilliant star of Ghost in a power pack premiere, Roadhouse. Soon, Home Alone's Joe Pesci, Molly Ringwald, and flustered father of the bride, Alan Alda, in Betsy's Wedding. And all the action, all the firepower of Top Gun. Michael Biehn of Aliens. From Wall Street and Hot Shots, Charlie Sheen. And Scandal's Joanne Wally Kilmer in Navy SEALs. The best in entertainment soon on 7. Blackadder and Baldrick write a dictionary, and those legendary young ones find a new house right after Fast Forward Thursday.
Beyond 2000 is brought to you by Optus Communications.
Tonight, we're going flying.
You can hover down here at a metre or rise up to 100 metres.
Here's 1.25 cc's.
We're going hunting. And we're transmitting vital messages.
It's the biggest search to date for extraterrestrial intelligence.
We won't receive the answers until beyond 2000. Hello there, and welcome to Beyond 2000. In this edition, a question. Are we alone? It's one we've pondered before on the program, and now scientists are stepping up their search for extraterrestrial life, and major advances in technology are aiding their cause. Tracy has that report for us a little later, but let's lift off with Dr. John. He's looking at an eye in the sky.
These days, it's not uncommon to find a camera in a race car, on a racing bike, in a cricket stump, or even in a shopping trolley. And it's certainly not uncommon to find a camera in a helicopter. Helicopters have revolutionised the way television news is gathered. They've allowed direct broadcast of major sporting events and given filmmakers a stable platform to achieve shots that were previously impossible.
Well, this is the way it used to be. Big helicopter, big price. Aircrew on standby hour after hour, and lots of restrictions on who can fly, what and where because of safety and manoeuvrability factors.
Well, that was until Chopper Cam took to the sky. This is one of the latest in the filmmaker's box of tricks. Now, it's not the product of hours and hours of research and months of development. Rather, it's the mix and marriage of one man's hobby, photography, with another's sport, model flying. Starting from scratch, Tom Ben and Phil George designed and built a chopper they knew would satisfy civil aviation rules. They wanted a powerful shooting platform, a higher degree of manoeuvrability than's possible with a big helicopter, and stability for the camera system. But they wanted it without sacrificing safety and reliability. The result is a helicopter cinematography combination so light and small that it falls outside the flying rules that govern its big brothers, and has opened the way for filmmaking of a special kind.
The flying camera is as fast as it's versatile. You can hover down here at 1 metre or rise up to 100 metres and move forward at speeds in excess of 60 knots.
Weighing in at less than 7 kilograms, the pilotless chopper cam can be flown precisely where the operator manoeuvres it, without infringing on civil aviation regulations. This flexibility means a unique perspective on the land below can be achieved by the flying eye in the sky.
Well, on the ground, as you can see, the mini chopper is a bit of an ugly duckling. It's stripped right back to basics. This is where the camera's housed. In this case, it's a 16mm, which is shooting at 24 frames per second. But equally, it could be 35mm or video with a microwave downlink to record on the ground.
The rotors are tapered and designed to give stability and vibration-free movement. They're made of Kevlar, and for safety's sake, they'll shatter on impact. Ouch. Now, there's nothing new about a pilotless aircraft carrying cameras. On Beyond 2000, we've looked at them in detail, and they've looked back at us. Such aircraft were used extensively in the Gulf War, flying over 1,000 missions to assess troop concentrations and movements. But our chopper cam, despite its potential for spying, is put to gentler use, twisting and turning and squeezing into the tightest corners to get magnificent pictures that expand the mind and enchant the imagination.
This ski case is not only a handy way to carry cumbersome ski equipment, everything except your boots fits snugly inside, but it also incorporates a unique method of protecting the metal bindings and edges of skis from rust and corrosion. Metal corrodes when its surface comes in contact with an electrolyte, a substance that conducts electricity, like water. The chemical reaction that occurs between the electrically charged water ions and atoms of metal creates an electrical circuit. To halt the corrosion, this electrical circuit must be interrupted, and that's what the ski case does. This cassette contains amine salt compounds, which behave much like mothballs. When compressed, they form a solid, but once exposed to air, they slowly vaporize, and the vapor molecules are attracted to metal. Once in contact with the surface, the salt molecules, rather than the water ions, react with the metal, preventing the chemical and electrical reaction which causes corrosion. When the compound has been used, you simply replace the cassette. This system is unique because it doesn't actually form a physical barrier against rust, like, say, oil, so it won't interfere with components. The technology has been used for a number of years in industrial machinery, marine equipment, and the aircraft industry. But the ski case marks the technology's debut in the consumer market, where it will no doubt find many other useful applications. Later, are we alone?
If we were to detect a signal, it would obviously change our history.
And next, the hunters become the hunted in the Masai Mara.
But we have to work quickly. In just 20 minutes, this cat will once again be a wild animal.
Jennifer gets an appetite for men.
Do you mean I'm paying for you to go to tennis lessons and you're staring at boys' bottoms? She's getting a little behind with her tennis.
On Hey Dad Wednesday.
What are you looking so cocky about? Well, what is it?
I bought it.
You didn't. Where?
The Age Classifieds, #1 for good, cheap cars.
Colour matches your hair too.
You'll find it at Dick Smith Electronics.
A fantastic range and over 150 stores and stockists across the country.
Research and development is an essential part of our business.
Quality control, we're proud of it. Everything comes with a warranty and a money-back guarantee.
Double-click on paintbrush and away you go. Thanks. They know their stuff.
All this and more in the new 224-page Dick Smith Electronics annual catalogue. It's out now.
You know, my dad used to say to me, if you've got to go somewhere, go first class. And this new Fairlane gear is proper luxury.
I love the feeling of safety you get in a big car. And now with anti-lock brakes as standard, Fairlane is safer than ever.
I wouldn't drive anything with a V8. Ford V8, of course. I've always said it's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
I've driven a lot of Fairlanes, but this one has got to be the best.
If you rely on interest for your income, you should invest in Bank of Melbourne term deposits for higher interest. You get 7.25% guaranteed for 6 months and 7.75% guaranteed for 12 months at the Bank of Melbourne.
Optus brings you Beyond 2000, a glimpse of the future through your television. When our service starts, you'll be able to experience the future through your telephone.
A Maasai village in the heart of the Masai Mara Game Park. These people roam the plains and build their settlements in the most dangerous of landscapes. Lions, cheetahs, buffalo all share their backyard. For centuries, the Maasai have lived in harmony with the wildlife around them. But for reasons most of them aren't even aware of, they may now be threatening the lives of the Mara's animals. Human beings are arguably the most successful populators on Earth. We've built up such a diverse gene pool that if a new disease were to suddenly sweep around the world, not all of us would die. Some of us would find we had a natural immunity to it, either genetic or social. It wouldn't destroy the human race. In the wild, the species range is immense. There's great diversity from one species to another. But within a species, this isn't always so. For some, their genetic makeup is so similar that, as a species, they're extremely susceptible to any new disease. Cheetahs, for example, are so similar that you can take a skin graft from one, put it on another, and the body won't register it as foreign tissue. There's almost no variation that could lend itself to resistance. This leaves the way open for cheetahs to fall prey to large-scale epidemics. This area is a reminder of how vulnerable to disease a species can be. 6 months ago, a pack of 22 African wild dogs lived here. In the space of 3 short weeks, 20 of them were dead. The 2 survivors wandered off and started a new pack many kilometres from here. But today, that pack too has been wiped out. All of them victims of rabies. Now there's not one single wild dog left in the Masai Mara. Peter Catt is one of Africa's leading wild dog experts. He's now concerned for the other animals of the Mara. If wild dogs can be so decimated by a single disease, how vulnerable may others be? Peter and wildlife vet Kathy Alexander are in the midst of a study of the park's carnivores. As you can imagine, it's a job not without its dangers. Wild animals don't simply walk into your clinic and describe their illnesses, so it's necessary to pay house calls. And today, we're out visiting lions. What we're after is blood. A simple blood sample will tell a lot about an animal's disease history. The presence of antibodies will explain what diseases the lion has been exposed to. As luck would have it, we come across a large pride feeding on a freshly killed wildebeest. From Peter's point of view, it's not an easy situation to work in. He only wants to dart and tranquilise one. But how can we get out of the car and take a sample with the others so close? And they're not about to be chased away when there's food around. It's decided it's too risky. We'd wait for another opportunity. And what an opportunity. A cheetah. Normally a secretive animal, her hunger has brought her into the open.
It looks good. What do you think, Peter? I mean, she looks real calm. There's no other animals around.
That's right, and she just lay down over there by that anthill.
A bit simpler than yesterday.
Quite a bit simpler.
Once we've inched closer, Kathy and Peter prepare the tranquilizer.
Here's 1.25 cc's.
It takes the cheetah a few minutes to go under, and Peter makes very sure she is.
Oh, we've been extraordinarily lucky. Even here in the Masai Mara, cheetahs are very elusive animals. But we have to work quickly. In just 20 minutes, this cat will once again be a wild animal. And who knows what else is lurking around here. We don't want to become the next kill.
I'll just hold this off for a second until she's clotted.
Not only will the blood be screened for antibodies, it will also be analysed for its DNA. This will tell them if the animal is from the same gene pool as those previously tested in the area, and perhaps give an insight into the role genetics plays in disease. Are some within a species more resistant to disease than others? Has the species been exposed to diseases other carnivores haven't? Are they showing a susceptibility to a particular disease?
Nuisances.
Also recorded are the animal's dimensions.
67.
My job was less glamorous, but no less important. I got to keep the thermometer in place.
Now let's get a tail length.
To check on its general health, Kathy takes swabs from the cheetah's mouth.
The purpose of this is we're looking for viruses.
A study of the disease profile of the game park has never been undertaken before, yet the need for it is increasing. The face of the Mara is changing, and the animals will almost definitely be affected. After the break, how the Maasai may be threatening the survival of our cheetah, who incidentally we'll catch up with later.
Okay, get a gaze at these, the teen queens.
It's very hard to see what is.
It gave me a really nice, gooey feeling.
Funnier than politicians.
He's John Howard's twin brother.
Bigger than the critics.
5 stars.
No stars.
10 stars.
Minus 10 stars.
8:30 Thursday. Toyota presents Fast Forward.
It's new. Yeah. Decorate. New formula. Decorate. It's new. New quality. Oh, yeah.
Try it again. It's creamier.
Oh, yeah.
Unforgettable.
The best family holiday memories start with a Queensland holiday. 7 nights on the Sunshine Coast from only $260. Call your travel agent or the Queensland Government Travel Centre today.
Preen, pre-wash stain remover, is effective and powerful. Preen removes tough stains and is available in 2 fresh fragrances. So try hard-working Preen. No other trigger works better. Preen, the great unstainer.
The Maasai people are historically regarded as staunch warriors, noble people who set themselves apart from other African tribes by remaining impervious to outside cultural influences. They're nomadic. They wander from place to place, tending their cattle and establishing new settlements every few months. But the expanding population of Kenya is putting pressure on the land these people once roamed so freely. More and more of it is being sold and populated or farmed for wheat, and the Maasai are having to graze their cattle on much smaller areas. Consequently, their lifestyle is becoming less nomadic. They are settling down in permanent villages, and herein lies the problem. So are their domestic animals.
The Maasai's dogs are much more than just pets. Farming here is difficult and dangerous. Traditionally, the Maasai have protected themselves and their cattle from predators with little more than spears. So when dogs were introduced, they were taken on as valuable extra protection. They can give you very good warning when there's a lion about. When the Maasai were truly nomadic, any disease that the dog may have would be present in an area for just a few days, so threat to the wildlife was minimal. But now that the Maasai settlements are becoming more permanent, that threat is present 365 days a year.
Listen to her heart and her chest.
Peter suspects domestic dogs may have been responsible for the outbreak of rabies that wiped out the wild dogs. So as well as collecting samples from the wild, they study the Maasai's animals. Rabies, distemper, parvo, and various tick-borne diseases have all been found in domestic dogs. It was always thought that wild animals spread diseases to domestic animals, and that's certainly been true of cattle, but perhaps the chain of infection can also go the other way.
That's a good girl. There you go.
There are 700 or so domestic dogs in the Masai Mara Game Park, an enormous risk factor in terms of disease transmission. And what of the wild cats? They also have domestic counterparts. What threat do they pose? These questions are being addressed for the very first time.
And I think this is a wave of the future. I think more and more what we'll see in Africa, in Kenya, is that the parks will become surrounded by human activities, that more and more domestic animals will come into the parks, and that the level of contact between wild and domestic will increase because of that.
These interactions will be inevitable, and according to Peter, management schemes must plan for this. Plans that will allow all parties to coexist. The Maasai, their cattle, their domestic pets, tourists, and of course the wild animals. Kenya's future depends on it. And a footnote regarding our cheetah. Peter Cat's intrusion was just an interruption to her daily routine. When she recovered from the effects of the tranquilizer, she picked up where she left off, looking for lunch. But her hard-earned kill isn't hers for long. A hyena picks up the scent. Surprisingly, a hyena is a lot tougher than the cheetah, and she won't challenge it. The hyena has no trouble in taking off with the kill. Just another day on the plains of Africa.
No matter how remote our corner of this world, we can no longer pretend we're isolated. But despite the fact that there are more than 400 billion stars in our galactic neighbourhood and 100 million or so galaxies outside it, we still seem to be the only kids on the cosmic block. Somewhere out there, other beings may be staring at their own patch of the heavens and wondering too if they're alone. And either deliberately or by accident, reaching out over the light years with a message that they want to talk. Since 1960, we've made about 50 serious attempts to determine if they exist. We've even gone so far as to forward our own official messages on board spacecraft and satellites in the mid-70s. Yet still, we've drawn a blank. So the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or the SETI program, is embarking on the most comprehensive scan of the universe ever. A 10-year survey to try and establish if we have any neighbours in our galaxy. Given the constraints of our emerging technology, we've now adopted the easier job of listening for the faint tones of an intergalactic phone, rather than attempting to ring out. And this is the biggest ear we have, the 300-metre diameter dish at the Arecibo Observatory. It joins a network of existing radio telescopes and computers with enormous processing power to sift through the cosmic noises of the universe. In just its first day of operation, this SETI project will dwarf all previous searches of the past 30 years, listening for signs of intelligent life beyond our solar system. We may be alone in our corner of the galaxy, but we're no longer unannounced. Since 1938, we've been inadvertently broadcasting our presence. TV, radio and radar signals leak from the Earth and remain easily recognisable even when they travel huge distances. Those first signals are now more than 50 light years away from home. While actual reruns of old TV shows have probably been lost in the interstellar noise, a steady, narrowband frequency emission or carrier signal would still remain. And it's signals like this that SETI hopes to detect. Most attention will be given to the quietest part of the microwave spectrum, the 1,000 to 10,000 megahertz range, which is relatively free of background electronic noise. It will listen for signals that, as far as we know, nature is incapable of producing on her own. A pure tone, or even a series of pulses that, like a lighthouse beacon, may signal extraterrestrial technology. NASA's global Deep Space Network antennas will be harnessed to scan 99% of the sky over 7 years. In just 1 millisecond, the all-sky search will do as much as the first SETI-type project achieved in 200 hours, way back in 1960. An achievement only possible with the help of a powerful new microprocessor developed at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. That processor will be more than 20 times faster than the most powerful supercomputer in existence today. It will fill 8 of these equipment racks and be capable of over 110,000 million operations every second. Yep, 110,000 million operations every second. But it'll need to be that fast because as those radio telescopes sweep the sky, they'll be listening to 32 million different channels simultaneously, like tuning your radio into 32 million stations all at once. Now, there's no way that that amount of data can be stored, and so as each signal is heard, it must be analysed in real time for extraterrestrial communication. As the signal may have travelled a great distance through the wilderness of space, it's expected to be very faint.
One of the major problems that the SETI project has is trying to find a weak signal in the presence of a strong signal. A strong signal would probably be caused by human-based interference. What I have here is...
The computer program will be able to coax out weak signals hiding behind the so-called skirt of the stronger one, and then analyse them in an attempt to find out their origin. The other 1% of the sky will be scrutinised in a highly sensitive, targeted search. For 5 years, a network of radio telescopes around the world, outfitted with special SETI equipment, will explore any stars within 100 light years of Earth that bear a resemblance to our own sun. They'll listen for weaker signals in the range of 1200 to 3000 megahertz, because it's quite possible that our interstellar neighbours have radio transmitters no more powerful than our own. So confident is the SETI crowd of breaking the interstellar ice that scientists and lawyers got together and created a document with the rather imposing title, A Declaration of Principles Concerning Activities Following the Detection of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. In other words, they're already asking, how do we respond? This intergalactic call will be nothing like a normal phone conversation. The signal could have a round trip of not just light years, but generations. Our great-great-grandchildren may well get the answer to our message. SETI remains a $100 million gamble. The true value of its prize, intangible.
Absence of a signal, if we truly convince ourselves generation after generation that we are alone, that we are the sole arbiters of our corner of the universe, I hope would cause us to take a closer look at the way we're treating our planet.
If we find nothing, well, it proves nothing. We may just have to look a little harder. Humans are inquisitive creatures. After all, we've speculated about our place in the universe for all of recorded history. The 13th century philosopher Teng Mu mused that if all of empty space were a tree, heaven and earth would be but one of its fruits. The most exhilarating thing about this point in human history is that finally we have the technology to put the answer within our reach. Somewhere out there, amidst a symphony of radio waves, we may hear just one note that signals an end to our cosmic loneliness.
After the break, we'll return to browse through the art galleries of the future.
Melbourne is celebrating its 150th anniversary. 7 Melbourne is a vital part of that proud heritage. Since the 56 Olympics, the people of Melbourne have relied on 7 News. In our 150th year, and as we look towards the 21st century, nobody knows Melbourne like 7.
Tonight, soon to be your favourite Garbo, Steve Kearney, that outspoken Pommy, Billy Bragg, and Greg Fleet, just for laughs.
At Safeway, we like to keep it lean. That's why our butchers trim only premium meat to give you mince that's lean, leaner, and the leanest. Because we test every batch, only we can give you lean mince guaranteed. throughout the day, new batches are made. So Safeway mince is always fresh and lean, guaranteed.
Lean and fresh every day. We're the Safeway fresh food people for the way you live today.
This is the washing machine that will set the standard for years to come. In fact, it's so radically different, it makes all other washing machines look prehistoric. Smart Dry from Fisher & Paykel, the world's smartest washing machine.
He's a working class man. Mazdas are built to work. And right now, all vans, trucks and Bravo Utes are priced to go. Plus, Mazda will throw in a free $700 Sid Chrome toolkit. And Bravo 4x2s and 4x4s come with a free tray. With great deals on Mazda trucks, vans and Utes, a free toolkit and a free Ute tray, it's a deal that's built to work.
It's the turkey!
It's a turkey. Don't buy a turkey. Call 246-3600 today and find out how from $15 a week you can get a Xerox copier, fax or laser printer. Call today for the best at small prices.
Optus brings you Beyond 2000, a glimpse of the future through your television. When our service starts, you'll be able to experience the future through your telephone.
Liquid crystals seem to be a technology really on the move. Japanese electronics companies are predicting that sales of LCD screens will exceed even those of the memory chip by the turn of the century. Many of us have already seen the new laptop computers with their flat colour LCD screens. Well, they're only the beginning. Small, slimline, liquid crystal television monitors will soon be everywhere. And don't be surprised if they pop up in the most unlikely places. These are not paintings or even photos. You guessed it, they're LCD monitors. Linked to a video laserdisc player, the 22cm screen can produce a montage of high-resolution video art. Or, for a more classical theme, to match the gilt-edge frames, still images of the great masters can hang on your wall. The slimline flat screens have been made possible through the development of thin-film transistor technology, or TFT. Each dot, or pixel, which makes up the picture, is etched directly onto the glass and is controlled by 3 transistors, one for each of the 3 primary colours. By controlling the mix of colours, a large number of hues can be generated, creating a palette which can produce some high-resolution modern art.
Mining. For most, it means digging, open cut, underground, drilling, boring, exploding, gold, iron ore, bauxite, uranium. The land surrendering its mineral deposits. But what of the ocean? 70% of the planet's surface, where mineral resources can be found, largely untouched.
The problem is how to extract them. After all, it's not as if they're concentrated in particular areas like land deposits. These minerals are in the form of tiny particles that are simply drifting around the world's oceans. And for the fishermen who can net them, the catch will be extremely profitable.
To give you an idea, the ocean is estimated to hold between 4 and 5 billion tons of uranium. One study says that's enough to provide the world indefinitely with nuclear energy, a big fish requiring a very large net. On a rather bleak day off the coast of Gothenburg, we ventured out to look at a pilot scheme for recovering some of these riches. At about 30 metres long and 10 metres deep, the 160-ton rig pitches and rolls just a few kilometres from land. It owes its existence to a holiday its designer enjoyed in much warmer climes.
The idea came up when I was bathing and swimming in Bahamas many years ago.
And I saw the wave rolling in all the time, you know. I said to myself, it's a hell of a waste of energy. You've got to do something about it, you know.
The result is a mine that draws its power and its potential profit from the ocean. Waves are constantly surging up the sloping entrance to the central basin of the rig, which is held together by pontoons on either side. The water in the basin or reservoir is at a level slightly higher than the still water level of the sea, creating a pressure head. This has the effect of exerting hydraulic pressure on water turbines connected to pumps, which then draw water from below the rig. This water is passed through sorbent filters, which concentrate and trap the minerals.
In that wave is 500 times more nuclear energy than mechanical energy. So then came the idea, use the mechanical energy in a wave to recover the nuclear energy in form of uranium.
The sorbent filters are known as ion exchangers. They're made from a composite adsorbent fibre. The negatively charged material has an attraction for the 3.3 parts per billion of uranium found in seawater.
Now, doing regular business, this fibre will surrender certain ions like hydrogen, sodium or potassium in exchange for other ions that are present in the water. But it has a special liking for uranium. If a uranium particle happens to drift along and come into contact with the fibre, it's like hand in glove, and that's where it stays.
Back at the laboratory, and after 4 weeks exposure in the sea, they extract the metal by passing a solution through the fibre. To make the project viable, they must increase the rate of adsorption of the material. For example, in warmer waters, the ions exchange more rapidly. It's also crucial to develop a range of fibres that attract other elements, like finding the right bait for the prize fish that are out there. The recovered metal then undergoes a process called gamma spectroscopy. It's irradiated to give it a readable signal. This determines the concentration of uranium and any other trace elements that have been trapped in the ion exchanger. Continuing the analogy, it's like sorting through the catch at the end of the day.
So we have to build the filter section under here, in the water.
The next step is to build a much larger rig in the area of 200 to 300 metres long. In a decade or so, they could be producing 100 tonnes of uranium per year from such an endeavour. For now, it's a case of exhaustive testing.
One of the things they were worried about before they put the prototype to sea was just how it would sit in these sorts of rough conditions. Today, there's a sea of about 3 metres running. But as you can see, it works very well. It's actually anchored at just one point, and like a boat, it points towards the wind.
It's intended that in regions where there are big seas running year-round, the powerful turbine could also generate electricity. The system may even produce fresh water through reverse osmosis. There's a long way to go to prove that it works. Out of the hundreds of wave power projects that have been tried, only a small number have survived commercially. On the upside, Sweden is among the most energy conscious of all nations, and there's plenty of enthusiasm for the idea. There's also an inescapable truth that underpins such research. The world desperately needs renewable energy sources.
If all the people in the undeveloped nations should come up to the standard of the Western nations, I mean, burning oil and coal and so on, you know, the planet cannot survive.
By necessity, the oceans of the world will play a much larger role in our lives in the 21st century. So, the next time you're swimming in the Bahamas and come up with an idea for renewable energy, I advise you to follow it through.
After the break,
unfold, hoist and habitate. Is this the housing of the future?
And why Saturdays are bad days for oil spills.
Witchcraft, seduction, 3 perfect living copies, and a wickedly funny final twist in the cloning of Joanna May concludes 8:30 Wednesday.
Yeah, I've got super, but I'm not sure if I have enough.
I'm in the super scheme here, but it's not enough.
I think we got enough.
Yeah, but how much is enough?
Now, almost everyone has some super. The big question is, do you have enough? There is a way to find out. Ring 008 80 20 51 now and AMP will send you this super checklist. The checklist lets you quickly work out your current situation. Then you can see for yourself how much super you really need.
I want to retire at 55. We can't do it with the super I've got.
I'll only have 3 years' salary to retire on.
AMP are experts on super. Thousands of people have benefited from our advice. That's why this super checklist is vital. Ring now and we'll also send you this super handbook which answers many of the most asked questions about super. To enjoy retirement, not merely survive, you need to know the facts. The super checklist and handbook lets you be sure you have enough. Call 008 80 20 51 now. It's your future on the line. AMP will always be there.
Unforgettable, that's what you are.
You'll never forget a holiday on Hayman.
Unforgettable, though near or far.
The best of all possible worlds on an island.
That's why, darling, it's incredible.
Hayman's Sun Lover specials start from just $1,015 per person, including airfares. To see your travel agent or the Queensland Government Travel Centre today.
Why eat it on your own? Toblerone, better than chocolate on its own, because it combines the unique taste and goodness of almonds, nougat, and honey. Why eat it on your own? Why eat it on your own? Why eat it on your own? With a taste that's all its own. Why eat it on your Toblerone? You know, my dad used to say to me, if you've got to go somewhere, go first class. And this new Fairlane gear is proper luxury.
I love the feeling of safety you get in a big car. And now with anti-lock brakes as standard, Fairlane is safer than ever.
I wouldn't drive anything with a V8. Ford V8, of course. I've always said it's not a luxury, it's a necessity.
I've driven a lot of Fairlanes, but this one has got to be the best.
Hold your horses, honey. How about some of this oily stuff? I've got gallons of it. Black gold, Texas tea.
No, thanks. I like Kraft peanut butter. It's so easy to spread, and it's never dry or oily.
But all this could be yours! Stop! Now, kid! Don't be rash, kid! No! Oh!
Kraft peanut butter. Smooth or crunchy, but never dry or oily.
From real life, a very special story.
Haha, what are you trying to do to me?
A story that will warm your heart.
Oh, I feel very proud of her.
Some special kids experienced the biggest night of their lives.
It was a bit overwhelming for a lot of them.
My parents were proud of me.
Real life, 6:30 tomorrow on 7.
For some time it's been thought anticipation of and recovery from the weekend reduces workers' concentration and increases the chances of error. Some dismiss such an idea, but a similar observation has been made elsewhere, with statistics to support the theory. The record shows that in the United States, oil tankers suffer a quarter of their major spills on Saturdays, which is well over the 1/7 predicted by statisticians of insurance companies. And nearly all the extra spills are due to human error, resulting in collisions or running aground. What's even more puzzling is that Sundays are as quiet as any other day of the week. So why Saturdays? The mystery may be best researched by sociologists tailing crew members on a Friday night. Maybe insurance companies could impose penalties for Saturday spills, or governments could tax Saturday shipping more heavily. These incentives would force the oil companies to take more responsibility for the actions of their employees.
Little more than a single lifespan ago, at the turn of the century, only 11 cities had populations above 1 million. There are now 275 urban areas housing more than 1 million people. Before 2000, we'll have to find room and homes for another 900 million people on this planet.
Even if you have the money, the time it takes to build a home by conventional means is at least 6 weeks for something very modest, and for something grand could take even a year. Increasingly across the world, the luxury of time and money is something people just don't have.
Amongst this housing display village that could be many places in the world is this unusual structure called a Foldapod, a house that can be made in a jiffy.
The speed of manufacture is quite tremendous, because one working shift of 5 hours per day can in fact manufacture close to 700 houses per month.
Not only does the Foldapod get built quickly, it comes down quickly. In fact, you just fold it up, I'm assured. Easier said than done. But we may just be on to the patented secret of how you fold up a foldable house. But then again, we may not. Having seen how it stays up, I'm going to witness a display of it coming down. After taking out the door frames, the building can be concertinaed down to be stacked by the dozen on the back of a truck.
I'm told there's more than one way to skin a cat. Likewise, there's more than one way to fold a Foldapod. You can turn it over like so it lies flat on a truck, or alternatively, like that.
Because they can be folded flat for mass transport, they can be rapidly deployed to areas of need.
Foldapod is trying to give shelter to the destitute, to the homeless, not only here, but wherever there are refugees.
Foldapod offers a more secure and weatherproof alternative to the tent cities that have become commonplace, wherever political or natural disasters render people homeless. By road or rail, the idea is that Foldapods could be shipped into an area of need, and by way of a hoist and a spreader, house after house could be unfolded from the back of a truck. The manufacturers claim that the construction cost of $90 per square metre is only 20% of even low-cost housing built by conventional means. The added bonus is these particle board houses could, when the need is past, be folded up and shipped to the next area of crisis.
The key to its ability to unfold and fold and still stay weatherproof is this industrial Band-Aid. For strength, it's got woven fiberglass on the top, but beneath a bituminous layer. Now what you do is paint the particle board with a catalyst, and then when you peel back this seal and put the bituminous layer in contact with the catalyst, it reacts and forms a permanent but flexible weatherproof bond.
By utilising the same construction techniques, Solomon Kessler believes the geometry can be scaled up to span tremendous spaces without internal support. He hopes industrial buildings, aircraft hangars, even sports stadiums could be spanned the Foldapod way. But that's for the future.
Next, vitamins for plants under stress.
A time of change.
What are we doing here?
Searching their values is the Spartacati's biggest loss. Who killed them? In the heat of the night, tonight.
Isn't this spectacular? It's my Hawaii, my home. And this is my Continental. It's pretty spectacular, too. Come and see why.
The new Holden Commodore Executive. We've made Australia's best-selling fleet car even better value. With a remote security system so advanced, it not only locks the doors, it immobilizes the engine. With improved fuel economy, further reducing running costs. And with a range of sophisticated features. Designed and built in Australia with all the resources in the world. The new Holden Commodore Executive V6. There's a world of difference.
What are you looking so cocky about? Well, what is it?
I bought it.
You didn't. Where?
The Age Classifieds, #1 for good, cheap cars.
Colour matches your hair too.
My family were really bored with the same old soggy, biscuity cereals. That's why I thought we'd try these new Kellogg's Mini Wheats. Not only are they bite-sized parcels of shredded whole wheat, they also contain real fruit. Apricot or black currant, with or without milk. I love them. And my family will too. As soon as I buy some more. Only kidding.
New Kellogg's Mini Wheats, rated G for goodness.
It's estimated that in the next 30 years, 8 out of 10 people who retire will not have enough money to live on. So their living standards will drop dramatically. Ask yourself, will your super be enough to live on? To find out, talk to an MLC Super Service Advisor. Anyone can call, and a few minutes on the phone could save you years of disappointment. MLC, making super simple. Phone now, 008 021 101.
No other Australian family car comes even remotely close to the convenience and security of Holden Commodore's standard anti-theft system. That's just one of many reasons it's Australia's top-selling car. Holden Commodore, there really is a world of difference.
This is Le Snack. As you can see, Le Snack is Le small pack of delicious goodies. Le crisp bread and Le creamy cheese spread in a precise Le serve for one. Le kid likes Le Snack in his school lunch. Le wife enjoys Le Snack between corporate takeovers and stock market fluctuations. You don't need to keep Le Snack in Le fridge. It keeps on Le shelf. Le Snack. You know it's good because it's made by Uncle Le Toby.
Recently, Brian brought us a story from Africa about trees which have the ability to communicate, not with us, but with each other. The African acacia releases a gaseous mixture which wafts through the air and alerts surrounding acacias that the enemy is dining. The gaseous alarm stimulates other trees to produce bitter-tasting tannins, enough to turn even the less choosy away. This mechanism has saved the acacia from being literally eaten out of existence on overgrazed game reserves. So just how do the trees sense the alarm, and do all plants have a similar defence system? Well, research into plant stress conducted in the United States may hold the answers to these questions and others. Plants have plasma membranes surrounding their cells, and in some cases it appears they contain stress-sensitive proteins. It seems these act as stress monitors, and when triggered, they stimulate the production of intracellular couriers that announce the presence of an external threat. But what if the system fails? Well, like us, when our immune system is down, plants become sick. To shore up a flagging immune system, many of us take vitamins, and it seems the same could be true for stressed out plants. Research shows that a plant's defence network is very sensitive to oxidation, which can be caused by compounds known as free radicals. One way of squelching the radical element is through antioxidants, and nature's premier antioxidants are vitamins C and E. It seems not only healthy plants are protected, but vitamins can be therapeutic to ravaged flora also. However, don't contemplate doing your own garden testing. Extremely diluted concentrations of the vitamins are required, often at parts per million. And don't go looking for a new vitamin plant elixir at your local nursery. Scientists are still working on the most effective doses, and it will be a few years yet before the products appear on the market.
Most hang glider pilots is to stay up in the air for as long as possible and travel as far as possible. But since foot-launched aviation became a serious sport 20 years ago, these craft have been unable to break through a variety of performance barriers. The answer could be something that looks nothing like a hang glider.
The first flight of the Swift.
All right.
On our next edition, we join the team on the test flight of the Swift sailplane.
I haven't got any wind, so I'm going to have to bring it in quickly.
And
from Denmark, the sound of sirens.
Decades of research have produced a warning system designed to save lives. That's Brian with what seems like a great idea. More ideas and more on the future the next time we look beyond 2000. I'll see you then.
If you're interested in UFOs, flying saucers, alien spacecraft and the likes, then join us Saturday night right after Darling Buds of May when 7 presents UFO Cover-Up. Virgil Tibbs reaches a turning point in his career after a harrowing brush with death. In the Heat of the Night is coming up next. Then stay tuned as Steve Izar presents Tonight Live. Thursday night is Comedy Night on 7, and it kicks off at 7:30 with Family Matters, followed by Acropolis Now. At 8:30, Australia's comedy sensation Fast Forward. Then Rowan Atkinson in Blackadder, The Young Ones, and Tonight Live. A wild night of laughs Thursday on your #1 comedy station, 7.
Optus brought you Beyond 2000, a glimpse of the future through your television. When